Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Okay, guys, I uploaded this segment, the timestamp on its 19th of September. I was about this red object. If you remember, hold on. Pink if you kind remember, of the sun was over here. Duskiness. Hold on. Let me just put the sound down. If you remember that the sun was over here, and then when we flipped on the flip side, there was this other object, and that was clearly visible, which we'll come to in a second, I think. Hold on, let me just drag the cursor down. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, where my cursor is right now. Now, that red, as I mentioned, how that seems it's indicative of a red celestial body with some sort of plasma. It's got these particulates that seem to be spreading around it. I potentially felt that that might be the means of a dukan, the smoke, the haze, potentially. Allahu Alam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. But like I said, with time, initially the observations were, I'll basically now give you some sort of like scale to this. Initially the observations when we started research, and at least for me my journey has been that I saw astronomical images of space, and in that there was this red celestial body which seemed to be like a star, or one of the stars at least, and then it had other celestial bodies around it, right? And this apparently was an image that was leaked, and this really certainly piqued my interest with the phenomena, and this is going back many years. Then as time has progressed, it's basically refractions of a very a celestial body which was red in nature again, and had this sort of like these particulates, haze around it, plasma around this celestial body, and that was being picked up in refraction. So it seemed like it was in front of the sun, and the sun was then projecting it into our atmosphere as a refraction, sorry. Very similar to how a projector would work. So you'd have a slide in front of a projector, and then a projector would basically reflect that image onto an atmosphere, a surface. So our surface is our atmosphere, and hence why anything near the sun has been refracted onto our surface, and this is what we see. And then if you study those refractions, and you become adept at it, because you see a plethora of these images coming in left, right and center from different people across the globe in different locations, different regions. Like I said, we're certainly seeing a lot more of it from the southern hemisphere surfacing. But now we're catching it everywhere. We're seeing a very, very red hue on the horizon during sunset in the opposite direction. Okay, and that hue has to come from somewhere. It's certainly not coming from the sun, simply because if you look at the sun and where the sun is setting, the hue where the sun is, at least we'd expect it to be as strong, if not stronger, than what would be seen in the opposite direction, if anything was to be seen in the opposite direction. Turns out what you look at near the sun is quite pinkish. Here you go. Yeah, that's where the sun is, and you can see a very pink, subtle kind of hue. But if you look in the opposite direction of that, subhanallah, and you've seen this video, I've uploaded it, you can go back to it and cross-reference what I'm saying. It's far more intense. The colors are, subhanallah, they're pretty, mashallah. It must have been quite a beautiful sight. Anyway, moving on, what happened is one of the researchers, and he's a very good researcher, mashallah, Matthew, he's taken this very seriously, and he's investing in equipment. I had a friend of mine, subhanallah, who asks me a question, which is, I guess it's not uncommon, but subhanallah, many brothers ask this. I was going to basically answer the question with a question, but let's not go there. What I would say is, again, a good friend of mine, he was like, well, how come anyone else isn't picking up these anomalies? The thing is, they are picking them up. And we're saying that because I'm sharing quite a lot of compelling evidence with you guys of those very same individuals who are picking this stuff up. Just because it doesn't come through the mainstream media, and we've kind of at least illuminated what motivates the media and the sort of powers and forces that are behind these media outlets. And if it doesn't fit their agenda, then they won't basically put that message out there. And from what I understand and what I put in the PDF, it certainly doesn't. They're using. They want to use this particular event to their advantage and uh, um, manipulate circumstances that will unfold as a result of the passing of this particular binary system to their ends. Anyway, what I want to show you is something quite compelling, because I mean, like I just showed you the timestamp on this video that I uploaded. That was on the 19th. Now I'm going to show you something that was uploaded on the 21st of September. Here's the timestamp, sorry, 20th September, but uploaded on the 21st. Right, now this guy's he spent a lot of money on his equipment, and at night he went out there with his camera over his shoulders, pointing it in the direction. Now remember that red celestial body we were referring to, which is very difficult to pick up, but the cameras kind of pick up infrared light, right? Now look at what he's just picked up. I'll let you listen to what he's got to say.
Hello guys, it's Matthew. It's the 21st of September 2016. It's 12:30 in the evening in the UK. I'm looking northeast at the sky. I'm in the field. I've got my...
Did you get the coordinates northeast? So I mean, I guess maybe we can do that. If any one of us has got some sort of equipment, he has got quite powerful equipment. He's looking in that direction. This explains the red as far as I'm concerned. And remember, I mentioned to you a red celestial body I saw in my dream. Subhanallah, I also saw a blue one, and I saw a very bright star which had a blue halo around it, very piercing brightness. And again, like I said, that dream itself had a very, very distinct signature to it. And it's got a common thread with other dreams that I've had, which have then led me in a certain direction. And every time I've gone, I've followed that instinct. Mashallah, it's brought me. I've never ended up at a brick wall. Subhanallah, it's either I've found more information to corroborate this particular narrative that's been kind of summarized in the PDF signs, or I've basically, alhamdulillah, been blessed with rubbing shoulders with significant others who are like-minded enough and have got something to offer, mashallah, in terms of like knowledge or their specific field of expertise.
Sunroof open. I've got my telescope and my camcorder on the right side of me. I've got my chair laid back, and I've got the camcorder and the telescope on my the camcorder on my shoulder.
Okay, if you look close enough, you can actually see this celestial body rotate as well.
And I'm able to zoom in. I've looked at other strange objects in the sky this evening, but the thing is, it's catching them that's the trick, because they come over in the night through the sky, and they disappear fast.
Now, when he said they disappear fast, remember how we basically told you, and this is again off the back of the data that we're getting, all the images suggest, and the footage, that this is a binary system that's running in a retrograde orbit, so it's running in the opposite direction as to what our solar system and the celestial bodies are going in. So the star is in a retrograde orbit to our sun, and all its celestial bodies are in the retrograde orbit, so they're going in the opposite direction. So every now and then, when they go past our horizon, our sky, our line of view, that's the only time, and they're moving thousands and thousands of miles per hour, these celestial bodies are. So they're literally just whizzing past our skyline, and that's when you get an opportunity to see them, if you do see them, right? Some of those celestial bodies can only be seen in the infrared light spectrum. Some of them can be seen in visible light spectrums, and others where we see them every so often because of their atmosphere, and they need to borrow light from another celestial body in order for us to see them. So it depends on whether the sunlight, just like it does on our atmosphere, if it's shining on our atmosphere, that side of the Earth can be visibly seen in space. The other side would be dark, simply because the sun's not reflecting on that. So in the same way, if the sun's not reflecting on a certain angle of that particular celestial body and it's going past us, its source of light, then we won't get to see it. But if its source of light or any other source of light is reflecting on its atmosphere, as far as the planet is concerned, then we'll be able to see it in our horizon as and when it does go past. So there's so many variables here. A, it's in a retrograde orbit, so when it goes past. B, what atmosphere and what's the composition of that particular celestial body. Is it a planet? If it's a planet, it's got an atmosphere. If it's got an atmosphere, then it needs to borrow light from somewhere else, i.e. just like we do from our sun, or from the moon reflecting light from the sun. So I mean, which is then projected into our atmosphere. So in the same way, these other celestial bodies, these planets, have the same sort of kind of principles, right, that apply to them. Or is it a star itself with its own heat signature, or with its own light source? We know that there's two at least. One is a dwarf star, which seems to emit heat but not necessarily light, and is borrowing some sort of like energy from our sun. And then the other one's a proton star, which is literally draining and next to our sun, because that seems to be basically the star of the solar system. Okay, and hence why it's in the barycenter with our sun. There's physics behind that as to why it's got closer proximity than any other celestial object from this this visiting binary system.
Some stars are getting covered by clouds, so I'm not able to catch the colour differences. There's some amazing celestial bodies out there that I've caught through the previous videos. You subscribers are fantastic. Thank you for sending the messages through on the message board yesterday evening as I videoed myself, hopefully to get, it's basically for me to get warmed up, you see, for a presentation, to get things right. So I've got till early December to get it right for you guys. Also, the emails you're sending in, I've got 242 names now for the presentation.
Now, there's a lot of dates being thrown around. Some are expecting it to come. I guess I'm one of them who expect some sort of like a celestial event to happen by December, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. These are pure guesstimates, by the way, off the back of the research. There's nothing really, there's no accurate science there. You know, it's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some are anticipating something to happen early next year, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. At least where asteroids are concerned, there's reason to believe from the research we're doing and the movement and the activity taking place from the military arm of certain governments, and noises being made by certain space organizations, one of which is NASA, gives us a strong. And then there's other ritualistic, even occult rituals that are taking place currently as we speak, which indicate they're almost like ceremoniously anticipating and an event to happen around. We're saying 26th of September. I'm personally concerned that this Friday, on the 23rd, potentially we may experience some sort of an event in the States, and potentially that could be an asteroid. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. I'm sure you kind of detected some sort of like reluctance in my tone of voice. Yes, I know it sounds very far-fetched, but look, you know, the evidence, like I said, is coming in hard and fast, and every day it's almost like I'm not even, I don't need convincing, you know, I'm basically in this 101%. Like I said, my concern is the ulama. It doesn't seem like basically this is well, it doesn't seem like it's basically been taken on board yet. You know, not at least at the sort of rate I'd like it to be, or at least anyway, Khair, you know, let's just listen to this guy.
Which is cool. I've taken all your details down and emails, so I'll be sending you out the time, the day, and place. Now we are staring at a heavenly body that I've caught on video camera now. It's attached to my telescope. So here's the footage. My battery is low, so I'm really gutted because I've been using the camcorder you see in the field for 2.5 hours now, and battery is low. I can't charge it into the car. It hasn't got a special charging port for the car. So anyway, I'm going to zoom into the footage if I can get the chance now. So it's zoomed already. It's zoomed already. So if I zoom out to the normal, I'm zooming back in now. This camcorder is very heavy on my shoulder, and I'm tired tonight, you know, guys. It can be tiring and exhausting to do these jobs for people to get the true footage out there. I'm going to zoom in now. I'm times 100 now, times 110, times 120, times 130. I'm using a double lens. There you go, guys. I'm using a solar lens. It's a very powerful lens, quite expensive, but it's there for you guys to look at the footage. On the presentation, I'll bring all the lenses down, the camera and everything, so you can see what I've been using, for others to look into possibly using the same sort of technology to get these heavenly bodies. But there you go, guys. There is the red heavenly body that's out there in space. I don't know what it is. I'm not an astronomer. I'm not too sure what it is, but let me tell you something. It looks like it's got some red haze coming off it.
Remember the red haze he's referring to, and you can literally see it spin on its axis as well, so reverse back and take a close look at it. But he certainly captured that, and I'm referencing all the research we've done, all the images I've seen of this particular celestial body. I've seen many, all different ones. Literally, I could maybe, if I was, I could make a model of what I think is what this binary solar system looks like now, and what sort of celestial bodies are in it, from all the data that we've basically processed so far for the past so many years while studying this particular phenomena. Anyway, you can see it rotating, and he's talking about the haze around it, and that's basically the plasma. The ionized atmosphere that I mentioned in the previous video, where it seems to have it's got the composition of this particular celestial body seems to be either nickel or iron, and it's got a very ionized atmosphere, and from its axis and its poles, it's basically shooting out the plasma, and that plasma is basically trailing it, right, which is causing this very reddish. Even in our atmosphere, we're seeing it. Subhanallah, in the opposite direction, and this explains the other light sources as well.
And this may be causing the horizons to become red. Now I'm going to go home now, guys. Okay, I'm tired, and respect to all you now, yeah, and have a good night's kip. And always remember now, eyes to the skies.
Okay, now he just mentioned the horizons going red, and I just remembered something. Now, so another great researcher has shared something, so I'm going to just take you to that for a second. Hold on. Let's see if we can find it. Can we? No. Hold on, just bear with me. Okay, horizons going red, 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 red. There you go. Now look at that. Okay, now another really good researcher, if you take a look at the horizon that she's noted, sorry, let me just music down, let's just blow this up. 20th of September. Now he recorded this as well, and he showed the red object. We saw the guy in the UK record it, and he showed this red celestial body, and we mentioned how it's got very ionized atmosphere. Now you've got this. Look at this, the redness in the sky being picked up. It's just not normal. Okay, this has been reflected by something. And again, if I was a betting man, I'd basically say that it's the same celestial body that's causing this effect in our skies at the moment. And this is in the opposite direction of where the sun is, subhanAllah. So it's something to be concerned about. Let's take a look at when it was uploaded. There you go. It just doesn't say anything. Colorado sunrise, and that's about it, to be honest with you, and published on the 20th. So it's very interesting that both very independent people, this is in the States, and that chap Matthews from the UK, and they both picked it up. So anyway, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Again, we need to start looking in that direction towards the skies, and see what comes of it. I think that this system is now on its trajectory out, and hence why it's getting closer. The next few days, it's going to be interesting indeed. NASA's making a lot of noises about asteroids coming in from absolutely nowhere. They kind of created this momentum has just basically sprung out of nothing, and they've actually launched a spacecraft which will basically take some samples from this asteroid, and then they'll try to create some sort of gravitational vortex to drag this asteroid away from our atmosphere. There's word, at least down the grapevine, suggesting that it's going to actually hit our atmosphere and maybe strike somewhere near the States, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. If it does, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all powerful, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need any asbab. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills it, then and this is the qadar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We basically surrender to it. No doubt the powers that be will try to use that. They've got this principle that they don't let a disaster, which basically is out of their control, go to waste. And they'll kind of manipulate that and take advantage of that in order to bring about some other changes that they basically were seeking to implement anyhow. So anyway, let's see what happens. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Jazakallahu khairan wa ahsanul jazaa for your time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.